All right, everybody, welcome back to the #1 television program in the history of the entire universe. I am Brian Lee Durfee, author of The Forgetting Moon, The Blackest Heart, and The Lonesome Crown, all three books published by Simon & Schuster's Saga Press. Today I'm going to be reviewing The Secret of Secrets, Dan Brown's newest novel. Just came out yesterday, September 9th, 2025. I actually planned my entire day around going to the store yesterday, buying this novel, and having enough time to read it in one day, because that's what I do with Dan Brown novels. I've got all of his books right here, one of my favorite thriller writers of all time. And before we get into this book, this newest book, and stuff like that, I just want to preface this whole video with everything that I am going to say in this video is a coded message, a Da Vinci Code-esque message, pertinent to the review, pertinent to the book. Even if I make a mistake or need to edit something out or whatever, it's all on purpose. Everything that I say, no matter how bizarre some of the stuff I start to say is, it all means something. Everything means something. It's a big puzzle. Big puzzle we're putting together this whole video. If you want to watch any of my other Dan Brown book reviews, I've reviewed many of these books already on my channel. All you need to do to see those video reviews is type in my last name Durfee into your YouTube search bar, Dan Brown's name into the YouTube search bar. Through some sort of pagan sorcery, those video reviews will magically appear upon your television screen. Now let's talk about my journey to the bookstore just to get this book. I always buy Dan Brown on the day the book comes out. I always read them the day the book comes out. I went to the Barnes & Noble and I saw a sticker on the new Dan Brown book, 30% off. I was like, oh my God, my lucky day. It's going to be cheap. I was wrong. Even with 30%, this book is expensive. I don't know if you can see, but the prices here, what is that? $35 US, $52 Canadian. $52 Canadian. I mean, my God, I'm glad I don't live up there. Anyway, now, here's the thing. Me being a dyed-in-the-wool capitalist, I can't complain about this at all. So I'm not even going to complain about it. I'm just going to mention it. Things are getting expensive, everybody. So this Dan Brown book. Okay, so let's talk about the cover first, because you know I love graphic design and cover illustration. Aesthetically, the book is beautiful. I will take this sticker off eventually to make it even more spectacularly beautiful. But, you know, it was designed very well by the publisher. And I will mention the publisher because the publisher is actually pertinent. The actual publisher is a coded message. This is published by Penguin Random House. Everything has a meaning. Everything I mention in here has a meaning. I mean, one of the things that's interesting about this book, and we'll get into the aesthetics of the book in a second. There's more things I want to show you, but before I get to that, I do know that I share the same literary agency as Dan Brown, the Sanford J. Greenberger Literary Agency. They also represent me in my books, as well as Dan Brown. And and he gives a shout out to his agent, Heidi Lang. And he even gives a shout out to his editor. I think it's dedicated to his editor, Jonas Kaufman. Jonas Faulkman. I'll get that right. We'll edit this out. Jason Kaufman is the name of his. We'll edit that out. We'll edit those out. But anyway, the book has another group of aesthetically pleasing things. A nice map of Prague with all of its cool things. In fact, the whole book takes place in the city of Prague. And, much like the Da Vinci Code, where, all these historical places in Europe are mentioned. I mean, there's a ton of cool things about the city of Prague. In this book, secrets beyond secrets, secrets of secrets, the secret of secrets of Prague. I mean, it's just absolutely great. So aesthetically, the book is dynamic. Now, I wanted to read the first couple of parts of the book. This is, and I don't know if my vision's good enough. He mentions his editor again. Yeah, it's dedicated to his editor. I think I already mentioned that guy's name and fucked it up. The day science begins to study, I'm reading out of the book now. The day science begins to study non-physical phenomena, it will make more progress in one decade than in all the previous centuries. Another thing, all artwork, artifacts, symbols, and documents in this novel are real. And as long as everything that I say in this video review is also real and on purpose. All experiments, technologies, and scientific results are true to life. All organizations in this novel exist. So what is this book about? The opening prologue is about an OBE, O period, B period, E period. What is that? It's an out-of-body experiment. It's an out-of-body experiment. Yes, yes. Everything's a coded message. Even my mistakes and slips of the tongue. OBE is an out-of-body experience. Death. Those people die. When people die, they say they die, but then they come back to life. But they say when they were dead, on the operating table, dead or something, they saw a light and they went to heaven and they were met by their grandparents and their loving wife or whatever. And that's their out-of-body experience. For those of you who followed my channel for any length of time, I went to the hospital. I nearly died. I was on life support for a while. The doctors told me I only had a 2% chance to live. While I was in surgery, I died. I had one of these OBEs, one of these out-of-body experiences. But I'm going to tell you, I didn't go to heaven. I didn't see any loved ones. St. Peter wasn't at the gate there to meet me. I went to hell. I went straight to hell. And if hell is being like trapped inside of a bug zapper traveling at the speed of light in reverse, while Czechoslovakian monks are chanting satanic verse, their voices with the volume set on stun, and me wondering why, when all of this chaos is going on, me wondering why some people are given the gift of faith, some people have multiple personalities, some people have deja vu, why people have all these experiences as I'm in hell, I'm contemplating all this, and why some people are gifted the secrets of Prague, why all of this stuff in my head as I'm dying is going on, it's all like seems like it's confined within a 165-pound devil's Bible that someday I might read, like this book. My clairvoyance in my OBE, my out-of-body experience, my clairvoyance that I would one day, that I was having an out-of-body experience that I was one day going to read this book, which is crazy. I mean, this very book, the only other time I had such clairvoyance as I did on my deathbed was when I was a teen in the 1980s. And I realized I'm going to go bald someday. Male pattern baldness is going to get me. I just could see it in my future. And it was, scientifically, it was probably more because of, like everybody in the 80s, every teen in the 80s, I had like a hairdo. Like I was putting so much hairspray in my hair that, I was using so much hairspray and Aquanet fog hung over my head like a halo. And I think that's why a lot of things this halo effect has, with my brain, has channeled me into some radio waves in my later years on my deathbed that, what does this have to do? Well, everything, I already told you. This is all part of my book review. Robert Langdon is the main character in 5 previous Dan Brown books. This is the 6th Robert Langdon books. Who is Robert Langdon? He is a professor of religious symbology, and he's going to Prague with his sort of girlfriend named Catherine Solomon. And she is a Noetic scientist. What's a noetic scientist, you may ask? Or more importantly, what the hell is a noetic scientist? You are asking. Noetic, noetic scientist. What the hell is it? Well, it's the study of human consciousness. And they're traveling to Prague because Catherine Solomon, Robert's girlfriend, is giving a big speech at this wonderful place in Prague, this magnificent sort of amphitheater. No, it's like an indoor theater. I don't know what those are called. I think indoor theaters are just called indoor theaters. But it's just magnificent, and she's giving a speech about noetic science. And this is where the plot thickens. This is where Robert Langdon starts to do his Da Vinci Code-esque symbolic. And Dan Brown is a genius. And this is, before I get into any more of the plot here, I just want to say Dan Brown is a genius, because if you've read his books, the Da Vinci Code, which I reviewed, I was just like, it takes a masterful writer to just put together such a complex puzzle of history and conspiracy theory and Illuminati stuff in a story that's engaging, that will captivate hundreds of millions of readers. And in the Da Vinci Code and the previous other Robert Langdon novels, he does this masterfully, and he does it again. Whenever I read these books, I'm just like, as a writer myself, I am just in awe of how he puts together these stories where all of this history and research he's done, he layers it into the book so effortlessly. Just like Michael Jordan laying up or doing a dunk or shooting a three. All of the things are playing defense or getting a steal or winning the slam dunk contest. I mean, everything Michael Jordan did just looked fluid and effortless. And I will tell you, as a writer, I appreciate what Dan Brown does with these books, because all that research and all the storytelling and the plot and the characterizations and the dialogue, it all is compiled effortlessly in these books, and it's masterful. It's just masterful. So that's kind of my just praise of his writing in general. I just love it. I love the way he does it. And it's engaging. The numbers don't lie. Capitalism won't lie. The guy sells a lot of books because he does it very well. And here's the thing. Between me and Dan Brown, we've probably sold 150 million copies between the two of us, I think he's responsible for about 150 million of those sales. But hey, we won't quibble. We won't quibble. But combined, me and him have made Sanford J. Greenberger Literary Agency, a lot of money. A lot of money. I'm just saying that. Anyway, the plot is, they go to this conference. She's talking about noetic science, the study of human consciousness. And what is the secret of secrets? That's the thing. That's the answer at the end of this book, which I am not going to give away. But there's characters. Catherine Solomon has written a book. She's going to get it published. This is one of the fun things about this book is we get to see the inside workings of the publishing industry, in particular, the actual publishing house that published this book. Penguin Random House is an actual character in the book. The people that work there are actual, and there are things happen in there, and I was learning some stuff, and I don't even know if it's real. I don't even know what was Dan Brown talking about this publishing house. So you're gonna have to find out. But I was like, wow, is that real? And then the plot of the story, though, is that she's written this book and she's about to get it published, but it's about noetic science. It's about the secret of secrets. What is the secret of secrets? Well, I'm not going to tell you. You're going to have to find that out. But there's a lot of people that don't want you to know. They don't want you to know. In fact, they don't want you to know the secret of secrets. There's people higher above. There's golems. There's golems in the city of Prague, lurking through the city of Prague. The golem of Prague doesn't want you. I mean, there's not just the golem of Prague doesn't want you to know the secret of secrets, but there's other people. And so they can't have this book get published. And so the publishing house gets involved in crazy ways. And then the editor gets involved. And the title of the book gets involved. I mean, it's all code. It's all puzzles within puzzles within puzzles that have meaning. And Dan Brown's being a little cheeky with some of this publishing business stuff, I think. I think, that's kind of why I mention. It's the only reason I really mention the literary agency and the people that it may or may not work there. I don't know, but anyway, it's in the book. You can find out. Anyway, she's got this book that nobody wants, and the secret of secrets is in this book, and it's going to get published soon. But they don't want, and so we go through this Da Vinci Code-esque chase through the city of Prague and all of the cool architecture, all the cool artwork, everything that Dan Brown's known about the city of Prague. He puts it in there, and we go through this chase as they try to as they unravel all these puzzles and clues and everything that happens around the secret of secrets and why people don't want the secret of secrets revealed and how it would just change. It would change the way that we all think about ourselves, the way that we all think about our OBEs, our out of body experiences, the way that we think about religion, God, faith, radio waves, disinformation, and misinformation. It's a spectacular book. I'm glad that I set the entire day yesterday aside to read it. And thumbs up, 2 thumbs up. Love it. Dan Brown's one, like I said, I mean, he does, with these Robert Langdon books are all gems. I think that they're just fantastic. Then this one is too. 10 out of 10. If I could give it 20 out of 10, I would.